Assalamu alaikum, I'm Waju. As a Muslim revert for 4 years, I know the struggles of reverts during the Christmas time, especially for reverts whose parents and family are celebrating Christmas. It is very difficult to know how to approach the situation. And nowadays even some Muslims feel like they want to have a Christmas tree, they want to have some decorations around the Christmas time. For us Muslims it's very important to always look at where something originates and if it is in contradiction with our religion. So in this video I want to have a little look at the origins of Christmas. And also as a Muslim of 4 years, I want to try to give some of my experiences and how I view Christmas in general. And I hope it can somehow help the new reverts who are maybe facing this the first time now. So I want to talk about a video which I already saw before I became a Muslim actually, which explains the origins of Christmas and the sometimes very contradictory Christmas celebrations. For example, when I was small, my parents told me that Santa Claus is bringing the gifts, but when I went to my grandparents, they said that baby Jesus, so 𝗢𝗂𝗍𝗪𝗂𝗲𝗂𝗂, is somehow bringing the presents. So even in these basic things about Christmas, there are already contradictions basically. And of course, Santa is not real. The video is called The Hidden History of Christmas, like I said, of the Merciful Servant. Of course, I'm gonna add the link to the video in the description, so if you want to see it in depth, you can have a look at that. And the talk in this video was given by 𝗢𝗂𝗍𝗂𝗂𝗏, who is an American-Canadian imam and historian. I just want to give a relatively short summary of this video, but of course you can have a look at the in-depth information in that video. So basically the main message is that Christmas is a combination of pagan ceremonies which were combined with Christian narratives. And that sadly most customs of Christmas which Christians celebrate today actually stem from pagan origins. And also sadly that Christmas is not connected to Jesus or Isa alayhi salam at all. So as we all know, Christmas is in the end of December, so mainly on the 25th of December. During that time, in the past, pagans used to celebrate the winter solstice. Especially in the north, there are some areas where for around half a year there are 24 hours of night, 24 hours of coldness. And when the winter solstice, which is between the 21st and the 5th January, I think, comes around, then they celebrated that obviously because the sun came back, the warmth came back. Pagans used to celebrate this occasion by worshipping the sun. Also, what they believed is that the evergreen trees, like the fir tree, that they had some kind of living power. So they used to take these trees and put them into their house and decorate them. And it already is obvious what this is referring to in nowadays time. And also the mistletoe, which we still know today, has kind of been used as an amulet to protect the house and protect the inhabitants from the cold and from death, basically, which comes through all the sicknesses which were widespread because of the coldness. Also connected to this time is a figure named Mithra or Mithras, who was somehow related to the sun god of the Romans, and they used to worship this figure too. And it is also said that this figure was born on 25th of December. And another thing is that it has also been said that this figure Mithras has died for the sins of people, which is quite similar to something which we know nowadays as well, I think. So we obviously have all these pagan traditions and celebrations connected to December, and especially December the 25th, the winter solstice. And many people think that Christmas is about celebrating the birth of Jesus alayhi salam. But even Christians agree that Jesus was definitely not born on this specific date. And even in the Bible there is very clear evidence that Jesus was not born in winter at all, rather in a very warm time. And similar it is with the Quran. So why is there this connection between December and Jesus's alayhi salam birth, even though he obviously wasn't born in December? For that you have to have a look at the history of Christianity in Europe. In the very early years and centuries of Christianity, Christians in especially the Roman Empire were persecuted because of their belief, because obviously it wasn't in line with the pagan beliefs which the Romans had. So the Christians were killed and tortured, but as you all know, nowadays Christianity is very, very prevalent, especially in the Roman area, so in Italy. Even the Vatican is there. So it seems that the Christians at some point had to make compromises in order to spread Christianity in the Roman Empire, or at least be acknowledged and not persecuted anymore. So Roman pagan ceremonies were incorporated into the Christian tradition at that time. And for example, I've also heard that even the concept of the Trinity had already been there before Christianity in the Roman pagan traditions. There was something like the Capitoline Triad, it is called, which is a combination of 3 gods. And when Christianity became more popular in the Roman Empire, this was just replaced by the Trinity, basically. So today we have a mixture of Christianity and the Roman pagan beliefs mostly. And this becomes very apparent in the Christmas celebrations as well. Other figures, apart from Jesus 𝗓𝗂𝗎, who is not connected to Christmas really, other figures have been connected to it, and 2 of them are Santa Claus and someone called Saint Nicholas, which are basically coming from the same root. They are basically the same person, but nowadays we have them as 2 separate figures. Christians believe that Saint Nicholas himself was a Greek saint from the 4th century, and this figure, if he existed, he has been combined with certain and various other figures of history, even some predating Christianity. For example, the figure called Mithras, which I already talked about a little earlier, or the god Saturn of the Romans, or even the Norse Odin, which some of you might know from Thor, as well as a figure called 𝗫𝗁𝗍𝗂. He has many different names in different countries. In Germany he's called 𝗫𝗁𝗍𝗂. And this is also a figure which is very similar to the Saint Nicholas which we know today, who is said to have brought gifts to kids, but also punished the kids if they were bad, or even kidnapped them in some narrations. And the German parents used to tell their kids to be careful, don't be bad, or the 𝗫𝗁𝗍𝗂 will catch you, basically. And apart from these people, Saint Nicholas has also been even connected to a figure which is considered to be the devil himself. Yes, and like I said, if you look at Santa Claus and Saint Nicholas today, they have been obviously combined with these figures. For example, Saint Nicholas, the actual saint, surely didn't come with a sledge drawn by deers and flying. This came from, it is believed, from Odin, because Odin is considered as a wind god, and he was also flying around sometimes. And he had a long white beard, so it's kind of the connection is there. And I also found a very interesting book which kind of explains the history of Saint Nicholas and the combination or connection which are there from various different traditions and narrations from very old times as well. And the book is called Saint Nicholas by George H. McKnight. So, and in history, Christians even prohibited the celebration of Christmas itself because of all those pagan roots. So, for example, in 1647, the Puritan Christians in England prohibited the celebration of Christmas altogether because of the pagan roots, and also because of the wasteful and immoral behaviors which come with the celebration of Christmas. And this already brings us to today. Today, Christmas is all about money. And even though people still claim or believe in the back of their head that Jesus 𝗓𝗂𝗎 is somehow connected to Christmas, he doesn't even have any role anymore in the celebrations of Christmas at all. Then on top of that, it's obviously, like I said, connected to pagan rituals, like getting a Christmas tree into your house or having a mistletoe hanging somewhere. And the video ends with basically the message that as Muslims we have to be very careful not to fall into this kind of paganism by taking part in celebrating these things. Some people say, oh, don't be like that, why are you like that? It's just the children having fun, don't you want them to have fun? But still, we have to be very careful about celebrating something which has such deep roots in paganism itself. It would be one thing if Christmas was a like 100% Christian celebration, but even paganism, it is very, very problematic. Completely out of the monotheistic scope and will very quickly lead to dangerous shirk. And if we as Muslims want to get a Christmas tree and put it in our house or hang mistletoes, things like that, it is basically the same thing as hanging an amulet in your house. And some people say, I'm just hanging it there, or I'm just putting this tree there. I'm not doing it for religious reasons, but still, as Muslims, we have to be very careful about these things. So this is in short. I hope it is short enough. There are more and more informations in that than what I could tell you now. Go to the description and have a look at that video. It's very informative. So now that we have a little bit of more insight about the origins of Christmas, I also want to add some of my personal experiences with Christmas from my childhood on the one hand, and also from my current point of view and how I approach Christmas nowadays as a Muslim. When I was brought up believing in Saint Nicholas on the one hand, who came on the 6th of December, and he was supposed to bring some chocolates and gifts like that. And I remember a funny story that one night, when it was the night from the 5th to the 6th, I couldn't sleep because I was believing that I was hearing bells of St. Nicholas coming to our house, and I actually had to sleep in my mom's room with her and told her, oh, I think he's here, I'm scared. And on the other hand, I believed in Santa Claus, who is supposed to bring the gifts to our house. I remember that we always went to my grandma's place on the Christmas Eve, which is the 24th. And when we came back home, somehow, suddenly, magically, there were gifts under our Christmas tree in the living room. But I was quite smart as a little boy, and I was telling my mom, oh, what if we can put up a camera, maybe we can catch him and see how he looks like, putting the gifts there. And of course my parents were not very happy about that idea, so I couldn't really go through with it. I believed in Santa Claus until I was maybe 7 or 8, something like that. And at that time me and my brother already had suspicions that maybe it's not real. So I remember that we asked our dad, I think, and he then told us, yeah, it's not real. And I think my mom was kind of mad at him for that. I found out later that my dad was really never a fan of Christmas at all. Over the years, when I got older, big celebrations of Christmas, we're going to everyone, celebrating it like that. It got less and less, and then it stopped. And nowadays, my mom is not putting any Christmas tree. Mostly it has just become a kind of a family gathering, having food. Very, very simple and small. But now about the really important topic of this video. How do I approach Christmas today as a Muslim living in the West? It is obviously part of the culture here, and many of our families, they celebrate it. If it is even in a small way or in a big way, they celebrate it, and it's just part of their identity. So it is very important for us to approach this issue very carefully and try to not hurt our families. We have to be really careful how we interact with them. So me personally, I don't ever make it seem like I'm looking down on them for celebrating it because it is against my religion. You should definitely, 𝗢𝗂𝗍 never insult anyone in your family for celebrating this, even after knowing that it has very bad roots and it is not connected to the religion. You should be very careful about how you phrase your criticism, if any. But on the other hand, again, of course, I don't think we as Muslims should ever put up any Christmas decorations in our own home. Putting a Christmas tree, decorating the house for this occasion. Because this would definitely be part of celebrating Christmas, which we as Muslims are definitely not allowed to do. But we Muslims will also definitely not lose our iman if we visit our family during these days while they have a Christmas tree standing in the house. It doesn't concern us, it's not really an issue, so we can, without problem, in my opinion, and I do it, visit our family. And I think my mom makes kind of a bigger deal out of that than me myself. For example, she's always very cautious about putting up any Christmas decorations, and she's like, oh, is it okay that I put that? Do you feel uncomfortable? I personally, and Tamu, my wife, also doesn't have any problem with it. I mean, it doesn't really do anything to us, because we personally didn't participate in putting these things up or decorating a Christmas tree. It is basically just there, and it is like any other decoration in the house. And we are basically every year invited by my parents and my grandparents sometimes to Christmas dinners, and we go. It is just as any other invitation to us to have dinner with someone, to have just normal family dinner and chat and just chill together, basically. Now, what do we do if someone wishes us Merry Christmas? Maybe they don't know we are not Christians. It is very a basic thing to do for Christians to wish everyone Merry Christmas. As Muslims, or me personally, I just wish back a happy holidays, something like that. I think it is the safest way to, on the one hand, not acknowledge the Christmas as part of our tradition by saying the same words, Merry Christmas too, but at the same time being polite and returning at least a little greeting. And I think that is very important, that we still always stay polite, especially with our family. And what about gifts? In my family, we have already removed the gifting part of Christmas long time ago, or it declined, and then nowadays it's very, very little. My family started to think it's just tedious and unnecessary to worry about giving gifts to other people every year. But if someone were to give me a gift on Christmas, I don't have any problem in taking it. I won't be like, no, don't give me any gifts, it's bad. So I'm taking the gift and I'm thankful for it, like you should be when you receive a gift from someone. And there are also narrations of our Prophet ﷺ and Sahaba which show that it is no problem to take gifts from non-Muslims, even if it's on their occasions. But I personally wouldn't give any gifts on Christmas to someone, and also that includes cards in my opinion, because that would be part of celebrating it, like actively celebrating it, and I don't think we should do that. So if you want to give a gift to someone just out of goodwill, then I would definitely choose a more neutral day to do that. And another point is that normally around Christmas, when you go to the city center, for example, I know this year it's a little bit different because of COVID, but normally there is Christmas decorations, there are Christmas markets. I also don't have any problem to go to the city center and find these decorations pretty, or go to the stalls and have some of the food which they provide, as long as it's halal, because maybe they don't sell it all year, so maybe it's something special which you can have. It's just like going to any market and having the food, because you're not celebrating it, you're just taking advantage of the situation basically. So these are my experiences around Christmas, but your family might be very different from that. Maybe they are very invested in Christmas, maybe they celebrate it very strongly still. In that case, like I said, you should be very polite, always be polite to your family, but at the same time be very careful about what you do, so that you don't accidentally commit any sins in that process. And I'm sure for some of you it is very hard to change your habits about Christmas, leave out on some of the customs like giving gifts and things like that. But it is very clear that the harder something is for you to comply to our religion, the bigger the reward will be with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of course. So I hope that is a motivation for you. And I would also encourage you to use our 2 Eids, which we have in Islam, and make them very special. Celebrate them by decorating your house, giving gifts. You can also give gifts to your non-Muslim families. For example, me and my wife, we have the tradition to make some Eid cards and give them to my family. It can be very nice. And also it can be a way of da'wah. And especially if you have kids, you should definitely make the Eid special, because here in the West, they will see that Christian kids are very excited about Christmas. They see all the decorations on Christmas and they will ask you, why don't we have this? So I think you should make the Eids very special for your kids especially. And inshallah, when Tamu and me have kids, we will try to do that as much as we can. So to end this video, how will this year's Christmas be for Tamu and me? Because of COVID, over here in Germany, people are not supposed to have big Christmas celebrations anyway, but my mom invited us on 26th of December to just have some dinner, and we're obviously going to go just to have a nice time, a nice evening, chatting and chilling together. And that's already it. We don't have any other plans. We're just gonna use the time where I don't have to work to chill, maybe create some more videos for you guys, or have some nice winter walks. Even though over here it's quite warm at the moment and there's no snow here in our area, it's not really a winter feeling yet. So I hope this video helped some of you guys. I know that Christmas is a very hard time, especially when you're new and you don't really know how to act. So I hope this video could give you some ideas or some information about how it can be done. So stay safe, stay happy and stay blessed. Until the next video. Assalamu alaikum.